I gave you 15 assets. Not all 15 compounds. Most of them store value. Some generate income. But only 3. Only 3 actually compound in the way that creates irreversible wealth. And almost everyone skips them. Not because they're complicated. Not because they're expensive. Because they don't look like assets. They look like work. They look like learning, like reputation, like content. So the 45-year-old with that list gravitates to the safe ones: real estate, dividends, stocks, the ones with price tags, the ones that feel like investing. Meanwhile, the 3 that would change his trajectory by next year, completely ignored. After watching the 15 assets video, many of you came back and said, which ones actually compound? Today, I'm answering that. I will rank them, not by return, by compounding speed. And at the end, I'll show you why these 3 don't just compound individually. If you haven't seen the 15 assets video, the link is in the description. I recommend watching it after this one. That's the full map. Asset 1 sounds familiar. Almost no one uses it correctly. First, a distinction, because most people confuse 2 very different things. There are assets that hold value, and there are assets that compound. Holding value means your net worth stays intact. Maybe it beats inflation. That's not nothing. But compounding means every gain becomes the base for the next gain. And here's the part most people miss. The right question isn't which asset pays the most. It's which asset gets more valuable the longer you use it. Real estate doesn't. Market conditions move it. Stocks don't. The company moves them, not you. But these 3 get more powerful the longer you operate them. Your participation is what creates the compounding. That's a different kind of asset entirely. Most late starters approach wealth the same way they'd approach a bank loan application. They list what they have, and if the number is too small, they feel like the game is already lost. That framing is the trap. There are 3 assets in your possession right now, today, that require 0 starting capital, that are more powerful at 45 plus than they were at 25. Because they compound lived experience, domain knowledge, and credibility. The 22-year-old cannot compete here. He doesn't have the raw material. Before we go in, drop a comment. One number. How many of the 15 assets do you currently own? Not plan to own. Currently operate today. Most people who watch a list video watch it as entertainment, not as a diagnostic. They nod. They close the tab, and then they watch the same video 14 times. That's the real minimum most people never cross. Not 100K, the implementation minimum. Because knowledge doesn't compound, only action does. Drop the number. I read every comment. Asset number 1, skills. And I can already hear the objection. Skills aren't an asset. Skills are just what you know. That framing is exactly why most people stay poor. Here's the financial definition of an asset. Something that generates a return, something you can deploy for a result. What do skills do? They generate income. They generate leverage. They generate access to rooms and deals that capital alone cannot open. And more importantly, skills appreciate. Unlike almost every other asset on the list of 15, your rental property depreciates physically. The market values your stocks. External forces move commodities. But your skills, the more you use them, the sharper they get. There is no depreciation. There is no market that crashes your expertise overnight. The skill of understanding financial systems, of reading a balance sheet, of recognizing psychological traps in spending behavior, of knowing how compounding works mechanically. That skill becomes more powerful every year you use it. And here's the part that matters most. Skills are the only asset on this entire list that requires zero starting capital. Not zero effort. Zero capital. That means your starting position, whatever it is, does not determine whether you can acquire this asset. You already have it. The question is whether you've categorized it correctly. Let me show you the mechanics. Skills compound through what I call the expertise loop. Stage 1. You deploy a skill. You solve a problem. For yourself, for a client, for an employer. Stage 2. That deployment generates feedback, results, a track record. Stage 3. The track record attracts opportunity. Better clients, better deals, higher leverage. Stage 4. The higher leverage environment exposes you to more complex problems, which sharpens the skill further. Back to stage 1. The loop closes. Each revolution produces more return than the last. Now here's where it separates from every other asset on the list. When your dividend stock pays out, the dividend doesn't make the stock more valuable. The underlying company does that. But when your skill generates income, it makes you more valuable. You are the underlying company. You control the dividend. No board of directors, no market sentiment, no Fed rate decision. And at 45, this loop is already primed. You've been running it for decades, probably without recognizing it as an asset. The question isn't whether you have expertise. You do. The question is, are you deploying it strategically? Or are you trading it for a fixed salary, the financial equivalent of selling your stock at purchase price every single year? Think about that. Asset number 2, brand equity. I want to be precise about what this means, because most people hear brand and they think logo, social media, influencer. That is not what I'm talking about. Brand equity, in the financial sense, is the premium people are willing to pay for you specifically, as opposed to a generic alternative. Think about that definition. Warren Buffett doesn't just manage money. Thousands of people manage money. He manages it under a brand called Berkshire Hathaway. And that brand commands a premium that no algorithm, no credential alone could manufacture. That premium is built on consistency, on a reputation that compounds over decades, on a name that enters a room before the person does. You don't need to be Warren Buffett, but you do need to understand that your name is either an asset or a liability. There is no neutral position. If someone in your industry hears your name, what happens? What expectation forms? What trust level is assumed? That answer determines your brand equity. And here's the uncomfortable part. For most people, especially late starters who spent 20 years working inside organizations rather than building visibility, the honest answer is nothing happens, not because they aren't skilled, not because they aren't credible, because they never systematically built the signal. They built the skill, but not the signal. That changes today. Here's the mechanics. Brand equity compounds through what I call the trust multiplier. Every time you show up, consistently, with the same voice, the same standard, the same perspective, you deposit into a trust account, not a bank account, a trust account. And trust, unlike cash, earns compound interest. Stage 1. You establish a consistent perspective in a specific domain, not everything, one domain. Stage 2. People begin to associate your name with that domain, automatically, without being asked. Stage 3. When a need arises in that domain, your name surfaces first. You become the default option. Stage 4. The default position reduces competition. You no longer sell, you attract. Stage 5. Attraction reduces the cost of acquisition. Your leverage, per unit of effort, increases. Each cycle builds more equity than the last. Now here's the compounding angle most people miss entirely. Brand equity doesn't just make you more money. It makes your other assets more valuable. Your deal closes easier because people know your name. Your products sell without advertising because your reputation sells them first. Your rate increases because the brand commands a premium. Brand equity is a multiplier, not an addition. Most late starters never build it because it requires patience. It requires showing up before the return appears. But for a 45-year-old with 20 years of domain credibility, the foundation is already there. You just haven't named it yet. Asset number 3. Digital assets, not cryptocurrency. Let me be direct about that. I'm talking about income-producing digital infrastructure, websites, content libraries, online courses, digital products, email lists, systems that scale your expertise without requiring your physical presence. This is where the system closes. Because here's what digital assets actually do. They take the skill you've spent 20 years developing and the brand equity you've spent years building, and they allow that combination to generate income independent of your time. That is the compounding unlock. Think about it this way. Right now, your skill requires your presence to generate income. You show up, you deliver, you get paid. You stop showing up, the income stops. That's a salary. It's linear. Brand equity makes the delivery more valuable, but it still requires delivery. Digital assets break the delivery constraint. A course built around your expertise earns at 2 a.m. while you sleep. A website with structured content earns search traffic for years after you wrote the article. An email list built on your brand equity generates revenue from a single message sent to thousands simultaneously. 1 unit of effort, unlimited instances of return. That's not motivational poster wealth building, that's infrastructure. And infrastructure, once built, requires maintenance, not constant construction. For a late starter, this is not a 20-year play. Digital assets can be operational within months. The question is whether you're building them or still trading time. Stop for a moment. If you're still here, at the 12-minute mark, you are already in a different category from most people who clicked on this video. Most people saw the thumbnail. Most people thought, I already know about assets. I've seen the list. And they left. You stayed. Which means something is registering. Something is landing differently this time. I want to acknowledge that, because staying at 12 minutes with no paycheck, no certificate, no immediate visible result is itself a form of investment. You are investing attention, and attention, directed correctly, is the first form of capital that precedes every other form. Now, before I close the system on asset number 3, one thing, subscribe. If you haven't already, not for the algorithm, not for me. Because what I'm about to show you, the exact mechanical reason these 3 assets create a closed compounding loop, requires a foundation. And that foundation is built video by video. Each one adds a layer. Miss the layer, and the system has a gap. Subscribe now, then let's finish this. Here are the mechanics. Digital assets compound through what I call the scale loop, unlike skills, which compound through experience, and brand equity, which compounds through consistency. Digital assets compound through distribution. When you create a piece of digital infrastructure, a course module, a video series, an email sequence, you create it once. But it can be consumed thousands of times, simultaneously, without your involvement. The economics of this are structurally different from any physical asset. A rental property can house 1 family. You cannot rent the same unit to 10 families at once. But a digital product can reach 10,000 people in a single day. The cost of the 10,000th sale is almost identical to the cost of the first. That's distribution leverage, and it compounds. Stage 1. You create a digital asset anchored in your expertise and brand. Stage 2. The asset attracts an audience aligned with your domain. Stage 3. That audience funds the creation of more refined assets, better products, deeper content, higher ticket offers. Stage 4. Each new asset extends the distribution reach of the brand, which increases demand for the skill. The loop feeds itself. Skills make the digital asset credible. Brand equity sells it. Revenue funds deeper skill development. Round and round, each revolution larger than the last. This is not passive income in the motivational poster sense. This is infrastructure, built with intention, run with discipline. Now, I want to mention one important thing. Most people treat assets as independent objects. They line items on a spreadsheet. Stocks here, real estate there, maybe a side income stream in a separate column. That's asset collection. That's not wealth architecture. What I've described today is not three separate assets. It's one system. Skills generate the credibility that builds brand equity. Brand equity creates the audience that consumes digital assets. Digital assets generate the capital that funds deeper skill development. The loop doesn't just compound each asset individually, it compounds the entire system. That's the difference between the person who earns 7% annually on their investments and the person who builds a structure where every component makes every other component more powerful. Remember the hidden minimum video? In that video, linked below, I told you that compounding has a threshold, that below a certain level, the system doesn't activate. These three assets are how you cross that threshold from the inside, not with a lump sum, not with an inheritance, not with a lucky investment, with what you already have. 20 years of expertise, a name that stands for something, and the infrastructure to scale both. The minimum isn't only financial, it's structural. And the structure starts here. The only question that matters is which of these three will you start building this week? Not this year, this week. Remember, skills generate income. Brand equity multiplies what that income is worth. Digital leverage means the system operates without you in the room. That's not three separate assets. That's a compounding loop. And like any system, it needs a control panel. Most people track zero. They feel the money moving. They don't see where. That's the leak, not the spending, the invisibility, which is exactly why we built the Trip to Wealth Command Center. It's a Google Sheets system that brings your income, spending, investing, and net worth together in one place. Your personal strategy hub, designed to expose money leaks, highlight growth opportunities, and show precisely how small decisions compound into real wealth over time. Not a budget tracker. Not a spreadsheet someone built in 2019. A system built around the same framework we've been building on this channel. Skills, brand, digital leverage. All three need to be measured. What gets measured gets compounded. The early access list is open now. Link is below. Early supporters get a discount, and more importantly, they get a system. Because knowledge doesn't compound, only action does. Think about that. If you've watched this far, here's what I want you to take away. Wealth isn't built from the outside in, not from a larger salary, a bigger bonus, or a more favorable market. It's built from the inside out. From the assets most people don't see on a spreadsheet because they don't have a price tag. Skills, brand equity, digital assets. One closes the loop on the other. Together, they create a system that doesn't require permission, that doesn't require perfect timing, that doesn't require a market condition. It requires a decision, and the decision is simpler than most people make it. Start with what you know. Name it, systematize it, scale it. That's the entire playbook. 2 things before you go. First, if you haven't watched the hidden minimum video, it's in the description and in the card above. Watch it after this. That video explains the threshold. This video explains what gets you across it. Together, they form the complete picture. Second, drop a comment. Tell me which of these 3 you're starting with. Skills, brand, digital, one word. I read every comment, and the answer you give tells me exactly what to build next for you. This is Trip to Wealth, and the wealth you build from the inside, no one can take from the outside. Remember, this video is for educational purposes only and does not constitute investment advice. It is important to conduct thorough research and consult with financial professionals before making any investment decisions. The value of investments can fluctuate, and past performance is not indicative of future results. Always assess your risk tolerance and investment goals before allocating your capital. Until next time, stay consistent, stay patient, and stay winning. See you in the next one, Money Magician. Outro.